Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Motorola DROID RAZR. It's the upcoming flagship device from Motorola's camp, headed to Verizon Wireless for a 2-year contract price of $299.99. It combines two of the most memorable brand names together into one. Specifically, the Motorola RAZR, which is arguably the most popular device ever in phone history, and of course the Motorola DROID, which recently brought Android to the mainstream, and you get this guy, the Motorola DROID RAZR. So it's packed to the brim with some cutting-edge technology such as the gorgeous 4.3-inch Super AMOLED display. You have a dual-core processor under the hood, 8-megapixel camera, 1080p high-definition video recording, and of course 4G LTE connectivity, all packaged in this razor-thin profile of 7.1 millimeters thick, making it the thinnest smartphone on the market right now, edging out the iPhone 4S and even the Samsung Galaxy S2. So is this next-generation device going to be the right one for you? Let's find out. Let's get out of the way, but we really have to applaud Motorola on this one because they produce an engineering marvel with the Motorola DROID RAZR. It's definitely one of the most compelling devices in terms of design in recent memory, and it's amazingly thin at 7.1 millimeters thick, making it the thinnest smartphone on the market. You can tell versus the iPhone 4S how much thinner it is, and also the Samsung Galaxy S2, and it's just remarkable, to tell you the truth, how they're able to do it with 4G LTE connectivity. It's very lightweight. You actually don't feel it much, considerably lighter than the iPhone 4S, and has a styling similar to the Droid X series, because you notice the hump towards the top, and also the Photon 4G on Sprint, because you have the diamond cut accents on the sides. But in terms of durability, it's solid, and on top of that, choice material is fantastic. Yeah, things like the sculpted glass face, the diamond cut aluminum accents. You have also a stainless steel chassis, which gives it good strength internally. You have the Kevlar fiber backing, which gives it a good clean look at all times. It maintains a clean appearance, and on top of that you have also Gorilla Glass, so it's scratch resistant screen. And finally you have things like water repellent nano coating, which gives it a little bit of water protection but not complete submersion, and even some of the internal components are covered with that. And all in all, just a fantastic looking device. So with the Motorola DROID RAZR, it features a 4.3-inch QHD display, which utilizes the pentile matrix arrangement. And it's not the first time we're seeing that, just because the Droid Bionic and even the Droid X2 offered it before. Even with the pentile matrix arrangement, we definitely like its sharp details, a lot of clarity too. You could tell with fine text, more than legible. And the unique thing about this guy is that it features a Super AMOLED panel instead of the traditional LCD one. So you get some saturated looking colors, you get the high contrast and the deep black color, so definitely makes it very attractive. And when you combine its great viewing angles, it gives it great visibility in any way you look at it. In outdoor conditions, we still had a tendency to shield it away from the sun, but nevertheless, the Super AMOLED display definitely makes it one attractive looking handset. Of course, we find the usual set of Android capacitor buttons below its display, and we also have the microphone right over there. Meanwhile, on the opposite edge, you have, of course, the earpiece. You can tell the Motorola brand right there. And you also have the front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera. On the left side of the phone, you have the plastic flap right here. If you remove that, you gain access to its micro SD card slot. There's a 16GB card preloaded, and you also have the micro SIM card slot as well. Both the handset's dedicated power button and volume rocker are found on the right edge of the phone. With the power button, it's raised a little bit more so you get a good feel for it, but the volume rocker is a little bit on the flat side, but luckily both have a good response when you press them down. Fortunately, even for a device that's razor thin, it packs some standardized ports such as the 3.5mm headset jack, the micro USB port, and micro HDMI, so it gives you video out. Finally, in the rear, you have the 8-megapixel autofocus camera with LED flash. You have the notch here for the speakerphone. Towards the bottom, you have the directional microphone. And just like the iPhone before it, you have an unremovable battery. It's not something you can easily access. The last time around, the Droid Bionic featured a 1GHz dual-core processor, but this time with the DROID RAZR, it packs a faster 1.2 GHz dual-core TI OMAP processor with 1GB of RAM. And as you tell, even with a live wallpaper activated, it's running very smoothly with most basic operations, and overall it has a very peppy nature to its response. Other basic tasks such as opening up applications, kinetic scrolling, pinch zooming, stuff like that, they all work relatively quick with the device, and overall we're definitely liking the speed exhibited by the handset. In terms of the platform experience, it's nothing really new just because we've seen it done on the Droid Bionic and even the Droid 3 beforehand, and it's running the latest version of Motorola's customized Android interface on top of Android 2.3 Gingerbread. And the thing we like about it, a lot of 3D animations and effects in play, just like that one with the quick contacts. You have also the ability to view all home screens at once if you press the home button. When you get to the app panel, you see all the icons jump into the screen like that, and you have that 3D cube-like effect in play. It's stuff like that that really enhances the core platform experience. And on top of that, you have all the personalization you have with any Android phone. You have all the various widgets like the social networking one, the weather, the quick contacts, a gallery, and also bookmarks. And a nice neat thing about it is that you could actually move them anywhere you want and also resize them to fit the layout. And overall, definitely a deep personalization. Thankfully, there is something new with the Motorola DROID RAZR's experience that we haven't seen on other Droid handsets, and that is the Motorola Smart Actions, which we'll show you really quick here. Now, essentially, it's almost like a personal assistant that tracks and manages your handset on the go and uses a variety of different things, such as different triggers and even locations to better, change or modify the functionality of the handset. So, for example, let's just quickly go down the samples here that are preloaded with the handset. So, for example, let's say you have a Bluetooth stereo system in your car, and if you have the car's Motorola Smart Action enabled, it'll connect to, obviously the trigger is going to be that connects to the Bluetooth stereo system in your car, and from there you could have a bunch of different actions. You could have it set the volume ringer to its maximum setting, you could tell the device to turn off the Wi-Fi, or even include the GPS. You could turn it on, turn it off, and you have a complete control of what it does in terms of actions. You could edit them, you could add different ones if you want to. Another good example here is the one with work, just because it bases it off the GPS location. So, for example, if you have when you have the work smart action, it'll trigger once it knows the location where you're at with the phone, because you could set the GPS coordinates, and once it knows you're at work, you could have different things. You could say, you could have the volume ringer placed all the way down to its lowest setting, and you could even have a text message being sent to a specific person. Let's say your wife saying that, hey, I got to work okay, and it knows that because of the GPS location. It's definitely nice just because there's a lot of deep personalization with that, different rules you could add in, and on top of that, it does a great job in terms of battery life. You could choose specific things, and all in all, it's definitely something useful. Another cool feature found with the Motorola DROID RAZR is the MotoCast functionality, which is basically like a cloud streaming service available for the device. So, for example, if you go to Files, you could set it so that you have your MotoCast computer set up. So if you have an internet-connected computer at home, you'll be able to basically stream and sync a variety of different files, such as music, photos, even Office documents, from your computer to your handset itself. So let's say you want a photo you want to share or play a video, you could do that directly on the handset. And the other neat thing is it also integrates with the gallery application, so you can see all the photos that are on your computer, on your device, and vice versa. If you take a photo or video on the handset, you can have it uploaded to your PC, so you have a hard copy. So essentially it gives you unlimited storage and definitely a lot of nice sharing functionality. With its ample display, the messaging experience is fantastic on the Motorola DROID RAZR, just because with the keyboard layouts, very spacious. You could tell here, you have two different options. You have either the multi-touch keyboard or the swipe one. Whichever one you decide to go with, it's just going to be an awesome experience, just because you can tell it's very responsive in keeping up with our fingers. And when you combine autocorrect, it makes for a really quick messaging experience. Of course, landscape's going to give you a little bit more generous with its layout, definitely easy on the fingers. And overall, it's a great thing if you love messaging. Of course, one of the major standouts with the RAZR is the fact that it's a 4G LTE enabled device, so you get lightning fast data speeds, and in our usage of it, fantastic. Really quick in loading up web pages here. As far as the overall web browsing experience, it's very good. Of course, you have things like smooth kinetic scrolling, responsive pinch gestures, and with flash support, it gives you that desktop-like experience. Definitely likable in every aspect. Well, if you happen to love listening to music, you'll definitely appreciate the Motorola DROID RAZR's music player interface, just because it has some nice visuals with its presentation, like this 3D carousel effect. Once you get to your library, it breaks it down to your artists, the albums, and of course the track listing here. As it's playing a song, it displays the usual stuff, the on-screen controls, the track information, on-screen controls, but in addition to that, it has even some lyrics, so you can sing along to the song as it's playing. It has some variety of different equalizer settings to better fine-tune the audio quality, but as a whole, it tends to sound a little bit on the sharp side at the loudest volume setting. Even better, we definitely love the video watching experience found on the RAZR, just because when you combine its Super AMOLED display and its QHD resolution, there's plenty to like about it. The video we have here is encoded in DivX 1920 by 1080 resolution, so 1080p. You could tell it's moving at a really fast rate, no slowdown or pause whatsoever, and overall, it's just a fantastic experience. In testing out the handset's 8-megapixel autofocus camera, the results are quite similar to what we saw with the Motorola DROID Bionic. So if you're going to print out a 4x6 shot, it's not a problem, but if you're going to try to blow it up anymore, expect to look at a little bit underwhelming. Specifically in outdoor conditions, it captures some faint-looking details in the background, a little bit on the fuzzy side, and its color reproductions on the cooler side, which tends to make the overall shots look a little bit on the bluish side. We notice the same thing too, still with indoor shots under artificial lighting, and in extreme low lighting situations there's a little bit of digital noise, but not that much, and of course it's a little bit on the grainy side. With the LED flash, it does a good job illuminating scenery, but overall it's good, but nothing to brag about. So what fails to impress us the most about the handset is its 1080p high-definition video recording. It does shoot it at the rate of 29 frames per second, so it's very smooth in its movement, but unfortunately details are definitely on the low side, almost indistinct. You do have clear audio recording, which is nice, and also touch focus enabled, no continuous autofocus, and its color reproduction tends to be on the cooler side, so it looks like it's a little bit on the blue side. As a whole though, it just doesn't really capture our attention. If you happen to be a chatterbox and love talking to the phone, you'll appreciate the quality that we find on the DROID RAZR, just because on both ends of the line, voices are clear and distinctive with no background noise whatsoever. With the earpiece, it's strong with its output, making voices more than robust and audible. And when we switch to using a speakerphone, we'll retreat to the same experience, great volumes and very clear too. With its signal strength, it seems to be decent with the Motorola DROID RAZR, and in our time testing it out, it didn't drop any of our phone calls. But just like other 4G LTE smartphones for Verizon Wireless that we checked out, we do notice it dropping its connection from 4G LTE to 3G, which is especially more noticeable indoors. In outdoor conditions, it's not that much of a problem. And finally, Motorola has somehow managed to pack in a 1780 mAh battery into this guy, which is a little bit larger than the one found in the DROID Bionic, and it's rated for 12.5 hours of talk time. But in real-world usage, we just find it to be just the same we found in the DROID Bionic. So 10 hours of normal usage, so if you happen to be a heavy user, a power user, expect to constantly charge this guy, and if you're a light user, probably edge out close to a day's usage, but in any event, it's something you're going to charge nightly. So there's no question about it, the RAZR is back better than ever before thanks to Motorola, and the Motorola DROID RAZR is just one of those compelling devices in recent memory to really capture our attention thanks to its razor-thin profile construction. It's easily what other devices will need to live up to be remotely considered to be part of the upper echelon of the Android spectrum. We definitely like its amazingly thin profile construction. Its choice of materials is fantastic. It's one solid handset, and it's definitely something that will capture the attention of anyone out there. Combining its Super AMOLED panel in play, it definitely makes for a really attractive handset, and it's still packed to the brim with some quality hardware such as a dual-core processor for lightning-fast experience, 4G LTE connectivity for fast data speeds, and on top of that, just a host of other specific things like the MotoCast functionality and even the smart actions, which really help it to be a very well-rounded device. It's not all 100% in all areas, such as the video department. It doesn't take the greatest video, and battery life is still something, an issue that we constantly see happening with 4G LTE smartphones. But for $299.99 with the 2-year contract, it's more than fitting. This definitely is a device that's going to capture the attention of consumers out there. And going forward, even though it doesn't offer ice cream sandwich right now, it's going to get it down the road, so it's going to be on par to what we see with the Galaxy Nexus, and by far, it's definitely one attractive handset. So if you'd like to learn more about the Motorola DROID RAZR, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V signing off. Thanks, guys.